Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Aurora 4X. So it has been a while since the last time I recorded for this. I'm going to say probably close to a month, maybe even a month and a half. Main reason for that is that particularly in the month of April, I've had a fair bit of family emergencies going on. For those of you that are in the Discord server, you know that I had to go out of town because my grandfather was in the hospital. He unfortunately passed away not too long um, after we came back from visiting him. So, yeah. But even before that, I had just not really recorded for a little while. I just hadn't really had the time between work, side project that I'm doing that brings in some money for the channel, things like that. Well, it brings in money. One of the major purchases that I would do for the side project has the ability to benefit the channel because it would involve upgrading my computer. But nonetheless, so we are back. As a reminder, again, since it's been a little while, I do plan to end this series in the nearest future. I just don't have an exact date for when I plan to end it. That is still sort of a work in progress to an extent. Because the main thing is I kind of sort of want to show off interacting with an NPR. Which is why we spawned a while back. I think it would have been last part of the part before. Just can't recall exactly the recordings because it's been so damn long. We spawned an NPR in the 36 Uppauchi system, however it's pronounced. And so, yeah, we are going to try to interact with them a little bit, hopefully at some point, and, be able to show this off. And then that's probably the end of this series, and we'll be back when 2.2 releases, which is, soon-ish, maybe, possibly. I don't think that's really been set in stone in any real way. I believe last part, I kind of glanced at the video, but I didn't really watch it. I will note, goddamn, my audio was all kinds of messed up in the last part. Still a bit of work in progress. Ever since I upgraded my audio system after moving. It's the 70 Orendi system. We did fight the whatever they were here, the spoilers, I think is what they sort of are, is a spoiler type race. Because they happen to be the exact same ones that we had in Geo Virginis. So yeah, I'm like 90% certain this is just some sort of spoiler race that exists to kind of test your might. Do you have what it takes to conquer a planet from an alien species type thing? But we kind of need to head back home for a variety of reasons. One of them is that the Agordot has run through basically 70% of its maintenance supplies. So yeah, gotta get home so we can get some more. And our escort frigates have run through all of their size 1 missiles. So yeah, we're just kind of waiting over here for our jump ship to stabilize the jump point on this side so we can head back home and resupply. That had 67 days to go. I think I might have off-screened, messed around a little bit with, goddamn, if I could just open the right menu, thank you. Messed around with some other potential design concepts, but these are unfortunately design concepts that we will likely never see. Yeah, I think I was messing around with the idea of switching from railguns to lasers potentially on our fighters. So the F5 copy here is sort of a direct successor to the F4, with the exception that it uses a laser instead of a railgun. It's a 12 centimeter laser, so that is, what's the damage on that? I don't know. Let's see, what is the damage on us? Size 12 far X-ray laser. It's a damage output of 4. with a range modifier of 80,000. So, considering it doesn't actually have that range, it literally just cannot possibly get that range. Okay, yeah, no, that's because of your fire control. Um, you would always theoretically do maximum damage, in theory. While this one uses a slower, significantly drop in speed. You know, we go from 13,000 to 10,000 kilometers a second. But in exchange, you are about 30 tons smaller and about the same fuel efficiency. Slightly higher maintenance life. But yeah, so, that's all sort of. Let's go ahead and, get this ticking along. But that's kind of what some rough concepts were for a potential future fighter design. But again, I don't really think we're going to see those because, again, this series is likely going to be ending in the nearest future. Well before we would actually get around to potentially updating our fighter designs. Okay, we seem to have gotten some event that paused the game. Ship overcrowded. Yep, I know. We're working on that. We have gotten minimal progress with the NPR that we spawned. Continue on. Now, of course, the reason we had to spawn an NPR was because apparently there was a glitch with 2.1 that we're using right now where NPRs will not spawn, potentially. Well, theoretically, I guess they spawn. You just have no ability to ever run into them, technically speaking. And all progress again, and yes, I know. The Gordot is going to have issues because it's the one that's picking up a whole bunch of survivors. So its deployment time is going way up fairly quickly. Don't worry. You guys have just another, 52 days to go. You can make it, I'm sure. We never really got around to finishing the terraforming of Alpha Centauri. Specifically Alpha Centauri A2. Because it still bounces around on the climate depending upon how it feels. I think it just went from savanna to jungle. Okay, we have somebody in Groombridge. Where is that? Oh, right here. Okay. Colony ship. What's the colony ship there? Oh, that's the Centauri. Yeah. Okay, that's why. Task Force. Oh, okay, never mind. I see where you are. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. I can have you guys backfill. Centauri, Groombridge. close to that 5-year deployment time, so probably want to bring you back, but I think we can do that after you deal with the raiders in Groombridge and maybe pick up survivors. I guess we'll see for that one. I don't think you guys actually will be able to do it though. That's 13 days, and I think I didn't look at it, but I think the amount of time it would take you to get here was longer than 13 days. So those guys are unfortunately going to be dead. Unless the Raiders, pick them up. But if the Raiders pick them up, as far as we're concerned, they're basically dead anyway. So what difference does it make? Continue going on through as we ever so slowly tick around. Oh. So the IS-01, so our intelligence ship, received an unintelligible communication originating from jump point 2 in the QY system over here, which is fine. But full communications established with them. This race identifies as the Chennai Imperium. Diplomatic contact with the Chennai Imperium is originating from the ship. Okay, it looks like it's over here. Intelligence has therefore flagged that as a diplomatic vessel. The ambassador of the ship identifies as Demon Lord Siren Treharn. Diplomatic rating 31.1. Okay, and there we go. Because we do have a name for them now, they have been updated here to actually use their name. They're not just system aliens some number. So we have them here with ship names that I have no ability to ever possibly pronounce. Yeah, so we can theoretically attempt to communicate to various extents. I'm not admittedly fully certain how that works, but I get the feeling it is more of a... Why is this listed as a known system and population? Sure, they have ships here, but this isn't a known system of theirs. Is it? Not as far as we know. No reason to believe they own it in any capacity. But there we go. We have... Wait, am I getting... Oh no, this is the one that we are doing. Yeah. If I could speak, that'd be great. This is the one that's a diplomatic ship. Or at least that we have flagged as a diplomatic ship. These ones up here are just kind of there, and don't know how we're doing at the whole intelligence points things, but probably is doing all right. Maybe, probably not really. Okay, yeah, we got 0 information on these ships. Although maybe now that we've made contact, we might be a little bit more likely to actually get something. We'll keep the diplomatic ship there to continue to, well, do its diplomatic thing. Also, now that I remember, Task Force 2, how far to get to your location? Oh, you're there. Didn't realize you arrived. And you're way the hell out here, okay. Let's tell you to fly out towards the wreck. No, don't salvage it, because you don't have the ability to salvage. Why would you default to attempting to salvage it? And how long will it take you to get there? Looks like 2 days. Let's just do an 8-hour increment. Let's just do a 1 day increment now instead. Go ahead and bring it up a little bit. Eight-hour increment. We have good sensors, in my opinion. So if they're still hanging out over here, we should probably pick them up well before we actually arrive at our destination. Now, of course, the raiders might have run out to, like, up here or something, potentially, for all I know. Or they could have just disappeared. I'm pretty sure we've had that happen before. I'm, like, fairly certain we have had them just straight up disappear. But nope, they are hanging out around the wreckage. Contacts, we have a Gatas. We have 480 kilometer, 480,000. God, I cannot speak today. It's not a great day for me. It really isn't. Okay, let's try this again. We have 480,000 kilometer range on our particle beams and lances. Let's close in to 470,000. How long will that take you? We are estimating about 3 hours. Let's do a 1 hour increment. Okay, we move forward about 2 minutes. And getting spammed. Or, well, not spammed per se, but picking up and then losing contact with stuff. Another 1 hour increment. Okay, there's quite a few guys here, and they are starting to run for the hills. Now, if they all want to fly in the same direction, that is great for me. Because it is much easier to engage them. Oh, there's a tech guy out there. Okay. Do we break somebody off to... Yeah, you know, we're going to break... Oof. I was going to say we're going to break somebody off to engage that guy, but we only have 2 destroyers that don't have missiles. Now, we could nuke the Gatas with the missiles. Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. Few lessons learned, of course, are that maybe we don't use missiles for our patrol craft. Just focus on lasers, particle lances, particle beams, railguns, things like that. You know, stuff that you don't have to worry about a supply line in any capacity. Because we can nuke the Gatas, which is the only thing I'd probably waste missiles on. The rest of this stuff, well, okay, maybe the Siege as well. The Siege is fairly sizable, and we're looking at about 25,000 tons. The Gatas is about 125,000. The rest of these things, tiny in comparison. So yeah, the Gatas and the Siege are about the only things I'd probably spend missiles on. The rest of it, though, I would just use particle beams and particle lances. But because I only have 2 destroyers, which are the only things equipped with particle lances and beams, don't really want to break them off because it's going to be a bit slow to deal with things, but we can probably do it. Our big issue here is going to be that I think the Albert T. Harris might not be able to keep active sensor lock. It might have an issue maintaining it because our destroyers don't have the long range sensors. They have the short resolution ones. Correct? Pretty sure that's correct. No, you actually do have. Oh no, yeah, no, okay, never mind. These are passives. Never mind. Yeah, so these are the passives, and yeah, your only active sensor is the resolution 1. We're relying on the active sensors of the guided missile cruiser, the Augusta, to pick these guys up at long range. But this is okay. This is okay. Oh, goody. And he is roughly flying in the same general direction, so we should be fine in that regard. Shouldn't lose contact with him. If he was smart, he would have flown opposite of where the rest of their fleet is flying. But lucky for us, these raiders are not exactly intelligent. Okay, now you go ahead and start picking your targets. And by picking your targets, I mean there's only one of you that's going to be engaging anything. You're going to start with the Yayix. Open fire when in range. We finalize our closing. Now we could get closer. What did we have for the intel regarding the weapons capabilities of these things again? 160, 40,000. And these are commercial, so they have no weapons. So we can close about 200 in reality. Get some better accuracy. Teco 178. Yeah, let's get the better accuracy. Let's close in a bit more. There we go. I was about to say, why aren't you shooting? Finish it off. We'll move on to the next target. 82. Well, recharge and engage. It's already closed to? So you did. So you did. Next target. Teco 164. Engage. Dead yet? One more. Yeah. 50,000 tons. Get the Saganami Cross for Captain Ivo Romalo. Next target. Teca 165. Charge and engage. Done. Gauge Teca 177. Charge and engage. Done. Now all that's left is the Gatas, and we can close in a bit more for that one, if we feel so inclined. But I don't think we will. I think we're going to go ahead and say start flying for the siege. And just kind of do a drive-by, basically. I think that'll be okay. What did we hit? Because I'm pretty sure the Gatas usually take a bit more than that. We destroyed something important, because those secondary power system explosions are fairly sizable. Did we potentially hit like the engines or something and just blow them up entirely? And that was with the particle beams. Because that was a energy weapon impact strength 9. It would have been an 18 if it was the particle lance. But okay, damn. Do not mess with you, evidently. 8 minutes until we close. "30-second increments. 5 seconds. Probably could have actually done another 30, but whatever. It's not going down quite as easily. Here we go. Gauge the siege. I prefer it when you fire all your weapons at the same time, personally. There we go. Kind of like that. And once you close into range, automatically go to engage. Same with you. See, you have 18 minutes until you arrive, so 5-minute increments until you close a bit more. T. Albert Harris should be able to take care of this by itself, though. I mean, considering the Albert David was able to deal with all of that stuff all by itself, yeah, the Albert Harris should be good. But it's going to have to regroup anyway, so might as well tell it to tell Task Force 2 to link up. Stationary and dead in the water. And there you go. Captain Victoria Sansi gets herself a medal. Subfleet DD. Ceasefire. You are going to. I'm not going to tell you to start making your way towards Earth yet, because if you guys break off in different directions, it's going to mess with things a little bit. Oh, I forgot to start a timer. Okay, we're about halfway. Now you guys head to Earth. Refuel, resupply. 70 Ardini. We are still about a month out. Before we're done stabilizing that side of the jump point so that we can fly back and finally resupply the fleet, because we don't really have. Yeah. Let's see. Alien Communications has sent a message to the TRS Able requesting that our forces leave a... Okay, they are claiming that it lies within their territory, so I guess we will mark it as under their control. And sure, we can bring our intelligence ship back home. That's okay. I don't mind doing that. If I can find it. There it is. Oh, yes. Shoot. Can it even come home? Okay, yeah, no, it should be able to. It's just not showing for some reason Earth as an option there, and I don't know why. Centauri. Bridge 34. There we go. Now you found out how to get to Earth. I don't know why you weren't showing that before, but okay. Obviously, we will keep our diplomatic ship here because no reason not to. Oh, and we found a mine. Or not a mine, a research lab on GeoVirginis. Damn, GeoVirginis is already growing quite a bit. Decent population on it now. Let's see. Oh, really? You want me to send the diplomatic vessel back? Really? You're gonna be like that? Really? Well, that's just rude. That is just absolutely rude. I think we're gonna ignore it for a little bit. I sent back the intelligence ship. I was nice enough to do you guys that. Could have easily told you guys to get bent if I wanted to. But I figured, okay, I'll honor your request and I won't spy on you. Again, they're requesting that it leaves, but it's just a request. It's not a demand. Admittedly, speaking of demands, this is going to be a request that you leave urgently. If you enter the Lacali system, this is going to be a demand you leave. If you go to Proxima Centauri, um, well, yeah, Proxima Centauri is out on the frontier. It's going to be a demand to leave. Request urgent leave if you're in Groombridge. You know what? No, Proxima Centauri will be a demand leave with threat. We're literally going to escalate from requesting you leave urgently to demanding that you leave, or we can show you the door. I will consider it a. I would like you to leave if you go to 86 Gemorium, and I will suggest that you leave if you go to Beta Telescopi. Of course, that presumably requires us to have contact with them, of course. So, suggesting they leave a system that we have zero presence in doesn't really mean anything, all things considered. But it is still just a request. We're not being penalized for it, evidently, because, our diplomatic rating is going up, so we probably could have had the intelligence ship stay. It's just that in the case of the intelligence ship, that is technically a military ship, that would probably piss them off. And so we probably would get a bit of a penalty for that one. The diplomatic ship, however, we should not be getting a penalty for, because it is a civilian ship. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's a civilian ship. It's been a little while since we designed it, but I'm like 99% certain it's a civilian ship. And considering their diplomatic rating is going up, the very least it's not hurting anything. There we go, we're up to 42.9. And while we have the opportunity, let's just double check. It is a civilian ship, right? Yes, it is considered a commercial vessel for maintenance purposes. Therefore, civilian. Technically, theoretically, it's not really civilian. But whatever. That's how we treat it. How much longer? 3 days. And then we can finally bring Carrier Strike Group 1 home. That would be good. They need it, especially the Argodot. Wonderful. Okay. You make your way back to Seoul. Carrier Strike Group 1, you make your way back to Seoul. Nope, 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 nope. To Earth, not the moon. The moon doesn't have anything useful for you. Load up on ordnance, and you should be good to go from that point. It should be noted in this game, at least as far as I know, when it comes to diplomacy, it is not, Europa Universalis or Stellaris or anything like that, where you open up a screen and you say, hey, can I have trade rights or, trade access or whatever? Things like that. Diplomacy is sort of a, if you guys just kind of talk for enough eventually these relations will be established. There are probably requirements for things like your diplomatic rating level. They probably won't give you, or trade access isn't something that'll come up if your diplomatic rating is, say, below 50% or something, for example. Even though I believe 0 would theoretically be neutral relations. Still only a request. We are up to 47.5 from 45.7. So our relations are actually going up pretty damn fast. Do we have a good diplomat there? Because I don't think we do. I don't think we actually have good diplomats because we don't actually have an academy that's like focused on diplomacy in any real way. Here we go, 49.2. Let's check on our diplomatic ship. Who's in charge? We have somebody who is really good. Well, not really good. Is fairly decent at carrier operations. In charge of diplomacy. Right. In fact, you're better at carrier operations than the rear admiral who is in charge of the carrier strike group. But you're just a Captain Oliver Whitehead, and that's why. That's the reason why you don't get to be in charge of the carrier strike group. You haven't done enough to warrant getting the promotions. But is that really true? Guess there's only one way to find out. And again, I wish this was in alphabetical order. That would be the greatest thing ever. But we managed to find him fairly quickly, and he has a halfway decent promotion score, I want to say, of 1,135. It's not the greatest, but it's fairly decent. Let's compare that to our Rear Admiral lower half. Whoops, looking at the wrong one. Here. Who has, a little under 4,000. But, then again, you have gotten your 20 years of service. Oliver Whitehead has not gotten that yet. He has only gotten his 10. Though admittedly, those aren't really worth a whole lot of points. Most of yours probably comes from the fact that you have destroyed 25,000 tons of military shipping, 10,000 tons of military shipping. You've destroyed a hostile ship. Okay, yeah, that would explain things to an extent. Okay, this next tick should take us over 50%, and we'll see if anything changes. It's kind of looking like this could potentially be the last part, because, like I said, I just kind of wanted to show off, finally, interacting with an NPR. We have one. We established contact. And we're improving our diplomatic relations. Not through the way of having sex with aliens. Although in some ways that might also be a valid option for improving diplomatic relations. It just kind of depends upon what your franchise is. Cooperation unknown. I don't know why our military cooperation is unknown. Presumably we know what level of military cooperation we have. I would think. But evidently that is not actually true. That is evidently not true in the slightest. Now, I'm not sure how high your diplomatic rating has to be before you get things like trade access and an alliance and all of that jazz. I have zero clue how high it has to be. So long as they don't demand I leave, we're keeping the diplomatic ship there. Because we can choose to ignore a request. So we are at 54.6. I really wish we had a better diplomat. If only we had a better diplomat. Do we have anybody who's good at the whole diplomacy thing? We have to have somebody who's good at the diplomacy thing. Right? Gotta be somebody. Diplomacy. We have 25%. Oliver, what are you? You are 5% diplomacy. Yeah, that ain't that great, Oliver. That ain't that great. Engineering is not actually useful at all. I think we're just going to focus on diplomacy, communications, training. So let's see. And what do we need to command? You, at least a captain. Theoretically, if I can get a good commander, we might want to go with that option. But no. Okay. Change of plans. We're going to be putting somebody who's better at the whole diplomacy thing in charge. Sorry about that, Oliver. You're not bad at your job. It's just that somebody's better at it. It's that simple, really, Oliver, I'm afraid. It really is. That should help to improve things even faster. Because we'd be getting a 25% bonus instead of just a 5% bonus. Well, Oliver, I think that promotion or that change in position ended up being better for you. Because I mean, sure, you're no longer the captain of a ship, but you are now the air group commander for the TRS Africa, the pride of the fleet. So you may no longer be the commander of a ship, but I think this position better suits you. Better has the ability to improve your standing. You are, I don't know where you sit technically in the command structure. Looks like you're probably second in command, we're going to say. If, unfortunately, anything were to ever happen to Monica Riojas here, you could temporarily take command. Do we not have enough size 1 missiles? It's looking like we don't have enough size 1 missiles. We don't. We do not. I'm also failing to remember what the oh, those are probably the old obsolete, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Those are the old size 10, well, size 4. We're not going to show them in tons. Size 4, range 3, what was it, 3,000 kilometers, something like that. Missiles, yeah, we got a fair few of those still running around, but yeah, we do not have any more A-14s. Build me 1,000 of these. Those will be done by October. Wonderful. I say 1,000, but I don't think that really cuts it, actually, now that I think about it. How many do we stick on an escort frigate? Oh, 500. Okay. Yep. Nope. 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 Modified this. Let's make that 3,000. That'll be done by December. End of the year. Wonderful. I kind of want to see, get us trade with the Chennai Imperium if we can. But we may not. We may not go that long. It just kind of depends. But I am thinking this might be the last part. I did enjoy this series and I learned some things. So, that's all going to be helpful information for the next time I do a Let's Play of this series. Admittedly, some of it's going to be going basically right out the window because of changes with 2.2. Also, I need to tell you to unload survivors. Completely forgot to tell you to do that when you first arrived. I think that got us to like 59.9 or something just now. Or the diplomatic rating. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, I'm thinking this might be the last part. I am legitimately thinking this might be the last part. But again, I did learn some things, so this will be helpful information for next time. But again, like I said, some of it's going to be going right out the window because some of the changes in 2.2 are going to change things a fair bit. Some of them include that the resources necessary to build missiles are slightly different, if I'm recalling correctly. I believe the big thing is that they're not quite as Galsite heavy anymore. Instead, they are Galsite and some other resource heavy. If I recall correctly, I think basically the idea is that we are having the cost of Galsite requirements, but we are increasing the cost of this other resource to basically offset the Galsite. Which is fine, because we had numerous issues with Galsite throughout this series. So being able to just not need to worry about Galsite anymore, that would be great. That would be absolutely great. Well, at least not need to worry as much, to be accurate. We would still need to worry about it. There's no quite getting around that entirely. But it'll help us to avoid just not being able to build our missiles quickly enough. And then, of course, that interferes with our ability to do upgrades and refits and build new ships and replacements and all of that jazz to deal with our losses or improve our ability to engage enemies. Although, admittedly, as I've noted, I think the next series I do is probably going to be like a sort of World War I-ish kind of naval concept. Basically, in this world, for lack of a better way to describe it, the naval doctrine of using carriers and air power didn't really take off for some reason, would kind of be the idea. So we were still rely on the old-fashioned big guns concept. So, we'll have our big gun battleships, our cruisers, our destroyers, basically an early rule the waves type campaign, in a sense. Um, Not gonna have to worry about the AI inventing dive bombers and our scientists saying, "What's a dive bomber?" as they stare blankly at a sheet of paper and you try to explain to them it is a plane that flies and carries a bomb and it dives before it drops that bomb. Why would anybody do that? I've gotten very unlucky with research sometimes in Rule the Waves, where my scientists have just failed entirely to invent dive bombers or torpedo bombers, and you're just standing there dealing with the AI throwing torpedo bombers at you, and you're like, great, those are the best weapon system in many ways to engage enemy battle fleets, or, battle lines. But my guys can't figure out how that works. And so you just kind of have to try to beat back the enemies with it. It's kind of slow. Especially Rule the Waves 2 did, it's a fun game, but it had its fair share of issues at times. Ooh. New ship class. Fun, exciting, interesting. Do we have any intel on it at all? It is this one. It is a commercial ship with an 800 sensor signal strength? Really? I feel like that might be low. Or maybe it's high. I don't know. Let's compare that to something of our own. Do we have any ideas as to how big it is? No, but an observed speed of 7,000. Let's look at our carrier. There we go, 7,000. Damn. Well, our thermal signature is on our carriers about the same speed as that. And we are what? About 10 times? Well, not quite 10 times. A little low. That's right. 10 times would be 8,000. And we're at 10,000, almost 11. We'll just round and say we're at 11. We actually have the ability to have a ship designed with that same thermal signature, even for a civilian ship. Excuse me, a commercial ship. I do not think that I have a commercial ship within the thermal signature of 800. Now, granted, that could just be because it just came through the jump point, of course. That's going to screw with our sensor information there, because it's not going to be necessarily going full speed. Although it kind of looks like it probably was going full speed. 7,300 kilometers a second and still only a thermal signature of 800? Really? Shocking. As I was saying before I got sidetracked, Rule the Waves 3 has its fair share of issues, but Rule the Waves 2. But yeah, dealing with the aircraft, God, that was not the most fun. I mean, granted, you could design ships that had stupid amounts of heavy AA. Although I think Rule of Waves 3 has allowed me to design stuff with significantly higher levels of heavy AA in the late game. So, yeah. Well, the waves too, you'd be dealing with a lot of enemy aircraft in the late game, and those were not always fun. God, there were some areas of the game that you did not want to have to fight in the late game. You wanted to conquer that stuff early if you wanted it. Otherwise, you would say, nope, I want nothing to do with it. Looking at the Baltics. The Baltics were not a fun place in the late game. Especially if the area around it was all, Finland, Norway, Eastern Europe. All of that was conquered by somebody. It was not a fun place to fight in the late game because of just all of the air power you were dealing with. So, particularly if you were playing Russia or Germany, you wanted to conquer that area very, very early on. But let's go ahead and just try to let this. Well, God, it's being a bit slow for my liking, but maybe we just let it go. I was going to say, let's go ahead and let this run until we get to 100 diplomatic rating and see if anything happens there. Ooh, an abandoned fighter factory on Geo Virginis. Why was there an abandoned fighter factory on Geo Virginis? They didn't build fighters as far as I recall. I mean, the Renos were fairly small, I believe, but I don't think they were fighters. And if they were, why were they not grouped up? I really don't feel like they were grouped up if they were. Although, granted, we don't actually know that. When you detect enemies, they don't show up in their groups. They literally show up as individual ships. So, they probably were technically grouped up if they were fighters. But they never did anything. So either they did not have, any range, or the AI just said it's not worth the risk. Ooh. Raiders popped up. This is the... Why... One thing I'm going to go ahead and mention about this game. I would love it if the spawn system for raiders were a little bit more intelligent. The big thing for me is that raiders just kind of spawn in this game. Why would they be spawning at Earth? I mean, I can understand earlier on when we didn't really have a fleet and whatnot. But I feel like at this point, there's no good reason for them to be spawning in, in the Sol system. Because they're just gonna get murdered. Just absolutely murdered. There's nothing for them. Sure, pirates can sometimes be idiots. That's basically what these guys are. But I would think that they'd be smart enough to say, hey, we're not... Everybody who has gotten the ballsy idea of trying to attack Earth has died. So maybe we don't attack Earth. But no. No, they just keep trying. Because this time will be different. Don't know where they got that idea from. But that's what they believe, evidently. Is that this time will be different. So, yeah, just personal opinion. I'd love to see the Raider spawn system change a little bit. Because I think it's designed to spawn them around systems, or in systems that have, value. Because it's a populated system. It's a system that a lot of civilian shipping passes through, whatever the case may be. But maybe be able to consider the value of a system to be impacted by the defenses of a system. And a well-defended system, they're less likely to try to attack. Or if they do attack, they use a much larger fleet. They've attacked us with significantly larger fleets than this and have failed. This fleet had zero chance of success. This was somebody who failed to get the memo that everybody who has come to Earth in the past 70 years or something has been destroyed. Again, with even larger fleets. Go back a few parts. Not sure how far back you have to go, but go back a few parts and remember, you'll see some of these large fleets that they have sent at us. This doesn't even compare to those in the slightest. State again, this fleet had zero chance of success. This was somebody who didn't get the memo or chose to ignore the memo because they said, oh, that doesn't apply to me. I can't read. Boom. Well, almost boom. This Charg is taking quite the pounding. Jesus. We've slowed it down a little bit, but there we go. God damn, that one did not want to die. There we go. Done. See? Told you so. They had no chance of success. They shouldn't have tried. Yeah, so you know what? I think that's going to be it for this series. I'm not sure what's going to be replacing this series. I've got a couple of ideas, but I haven't really finalized any of them, admittedly, because I wasn't fully certain when this series was going to be ending. Yeah, so I think this series is going to be ending in this part, and I'll figure out what's going to replace it. Like I said, I got a couple of ideas. I just haven't really finalized any of them. I need to do some tests to see, so there will probably be a bit of a gap in recordings for the series, for the channel, as I try to figure out what out of those couple of options that I have is kind of the best replacement for this series. Like I said, I do plan to come back when 2.2 releases. I just, that I don't believe has any sort of concrete release date right now. That's just kind of a, nearish future, potentially. But is still kind of a work in progress for that, I imagine. Okay, there we go. We got to 94. Let's go ahead and let this run until we get to 100, and then we'll celebrate by ending the part at that. I do have my own personal Aurora game going that I haven't really played too much with. And I mean, if 2.2 takes forever to come out, we may just start up a series sooner. If I feel like it, we may end up doing that, but I think we're just going to go ahead and do a completely different game for a little bit. I do plan to get back into live streaming, and I've said it before, I just haven't gone around to it because stuff just kind of gets in the way. Again, I've got a side project that I work on, and that takes up a lot of time. Jesus, the renders for that thing takes forever sometimes. So, yeah, that just kind of slows things down. I would need to upgrade my graphics card again to probably speed those up, and even those I can't really guarantee would speed it up enough to be worth the cost. Picking you up now. Okay, you seem to be wanting to head to, to Alpha Centauri A2. Don't know how far out you actually are, though. You didn't seem to move very far, considering we had a 3-day increment there. That wasn't a 3-day increment. That was a 3-hour increment, actually. Pardon me. I don't recall. Have we upgraded the ground defenses of Alpha Centauri? I don't know. No, I don't think we did. Are we still building them, potentially? No. Am I just misremembering? No, I'm not misremembering. We have not replaced them yet. Oh, they're here. I just haven't dropped them off. Yeah. Okay. I completely forgot that they got built, so we don't get to see our. Well, you know what? Fuck it. Gonna be the end of the part anyway. What difference does it make? Instant build. 2 of these. I do kind of want to just see how our new ones do, so let's just those old formations. See what 48 and 49 do. Target largest ship, even though there's only the one ship, but that's fine. I need a better way of being able to change your targeting priorities for these. I do want to note. Do a 1-hour increment. Those have more range than the old system. They have 500,000 kilometers compared to the old system. The old system is 250, so we literally double the range. Let's see how this does. Again, we're gonna let this part go a bit long. I want to see how these new STOs handle, and then again, I kind of want to see if we get anything special when we get to 100 diplomatic relations, or diplomatic rating rather. Oh, did he pick up civilians? He picked up a civilian leaving. You poor bastard. Guess we gotta let him die first, and then see what other civilians he decides to go for. Finish dealing with the freighter. Are you gonna deal with those freighters as well? Yes, you are. Yes, of course you are. But once you deal with all those freighters, you're going to come back, right? I need you to come back. I'd love to also see the civilian AI get a bit smarter. Like if I'm detecting a hostile vessel in the area, like they should just say screw this and have a change of plans instead of just going like lemmings and continuing on with their trade route, even though they know it's gonna, you know, potentially take them into harm's way. And you might say, but can't you just mark the system as a military restricted system? Sure, but then I have to remember to unmark it as that afterwards. It's the whole reason I don't do that. Okay. Now, I'm not seeing any more civilians, so are you going to come to the planet again? You seem to be avoiding the planet. Are you going for the life pods now? Did you focus on... Were you smart enough to actually focus on destroying the ships before going for the life pods, figuring that you would have time to go back and get them afterwards? Holy shit, you were. Oh my god. That is surprisingly intelligent programming. Because that's exactly what I would do if I was that tekka. I would just hit everything and then figure, well, you know, they're going to be there for about 13 days after I destroy the ship. So I got plenty of time to destroy everything in the area and then go back. Pretty sure we did a similar thing with the Gordot's sister ship that got destroyed in 70 Arendi last part. Or excuse me, 70 Aradini, however it's pronounced. We figured we'd had enough time to destroy the immediate threats before we picked up the survivors. Now are you going to head to the planet? Or are you just going to sit there now? Because if you're just going to sit there, that disappoints me. There we go. Don't worry about the big, bad, mean particle beams that are on the planet waiting to destroy you. Speaking of those, let's actually double check something real quick. Did the size of the formations change? I don't recall. They're a bit bigger. We have 26 STOs now, as opposed to 20. I also gave them some engineering units because I got no idea if they actually bother fortifying at all. And I mean, it looks like they do, but fortifying is a bit of a slow process. This is, yeah, a bit of a slow process. 20 minutes? Okay, probably could have done an hour again and been fine. But that's okay. 2 minutes. 2 minutes is fine. 30 seconds. They're about to enter range. Boom. Just 2 hits. 7 hits. 9 hits and dead in the water. Boom, dead. 14 hits. Yep. I think those work as well. I mean, theoretically, we could have done lasers. Lasers would also be a valid option. The issue with lasers is that they have damage drop-off compared to particle beams and particle lances. Particle lances are also significantly more expensive to use compared to particle beams for an STO. So that's why I personally used beams instead of lances. Especially if I wanted lances, I'd have to have even smaller unit groupings. And it should be noted, these take 30 seconds between firing. That's a fair bit of time for them to close the distance. And sure, that means I'll probably get more hits the next time around, but I'm kind of just relying to an extent on saturation fire in a sense, while still being able to pack a punch. So, 6 damage, min and max, with a rate of fire of 10, in my opinion, is better than 18 damage, min and max, with a rate of fire of 30, and likely needing to use even smaller defense teams. So rather than 26, I might have to use, say, 15 instead, just for example. And so that's less guns firing and firing slower. So sure, they theoretically do like 3 times the damage. Well, twice the damage, actually, it looks like. Or, excuse me, not twice. You know, and that is 3 times the damage. I just suck at math. Yeah, so theoretically lasers would work as well. They have damage drop off, although they might have been better in some regards when it comes to fire rate, but no, they wouldn't be because their fire rate would be the same. It's affected by the capacitor recharge rate level that you use for the weapon system. Okay, there we go. We hit 100. Specifically 106 or excuse me, 100.6. And nothing magical happened. Now, granted, it's not too surprising. I'm not sure how you would, if and how you would potentially go about trying to establish things like trade access and military cooperation. Not really played this far along, and that's not helped by the fact that there is, again, apparently a bug with this version of 2.1 where potentially, while NPRs theoretically spawn, they'll spawn in such a way that you can never discover the system they're in. As a result, you do not have the ability to really discover and interact with them and all that jazz. Like, their system will somehow just magically be locked away with no jump points that actually provide you the ability to get there. And so, yeah, that's an issue. That is an issue. No idea if this will be fixed in 2.2, but hopefully it is. In my personal campaign, I'm sort of trying to see if I heard, at least, that if you turn off NPR generation at game start and then turn it on after you start the game, in theory, it prevents this bug from happening. I've got that going in my personal campaign, but I haven't played enough of it to really see if that ends up actually being the case. For anyone who doesn't know how to have multiple Aurora campaigns, the easiest way to do it is to literally just have multiple folders of Aurora. Theoretically, you can name the folders after the campaigns to make your life a tad bit easier. And, yeah, that's an option. I don't think that's the easiest option, in my opinion. Theoretically, you can play the game of copying your database and whatnot, and overwriting and whatnot when want to play campaign B instead of campaign A. I feel like that's a ton of hoops to jump through, and it's just so much easier to have just the one, or just have multiple folders for the campaigns. It's so much easier in my opinion. But yeah, so you know what? That's going to be it for this series. I will see you all next time in whatever series ends up replacing this. And if I get to live streaming before this video goes up, I will hopefully see some of you all there as well. Again, that's something I've been trying to get back into. I just haven't really had the time to even really start. But yeah, so that's going to be it for Aurora for now. I don't know what will be replacing this series. Like I said, I have a few ideas, but none of them are exactly concrete. So those are all still work in progress. We'll see how that all goes. But I will see you all next time in, like I said, whatever the next series is on the channel that replaces Aurora. Hopefully I'll see some of you all whenever I finally get around to live streaming again. But until next time, goodbye and farewell.